I'm Mr. MegaManFan. Like, share, comment, and subscribe. You know all the things to do. And today, I'm going to unbox Indigo 7 Quest for Love, a PlayStation Vita game that was still new and sealed, even though it's the year of our Lord 2025. You can still find sealed, unopened PlayStation Vita games. I got this one from Video Games Plus in Canada, along with a War Theater game, which I didn't even know there was a sequel to War Theater before I ordered this and Indigo 7, but both were in stock and at the time of uploading this video should still be available if you want a copy, although I will certainly earn no reward or commission for doing so. As you can see, we've got an East Asia Soft sticker inside telling us which one of their releases this is, and there will be more swag inside the box itself, so we need to break the shrink wrap on this, which is always fun because you so rarely get to unseal unopened PlayStation Vita games anymore. And now that we've got this shrink wrap off, we can get a little better look at the box. It's easier to see the artwork without the plastic reflecting the light off of everything. This game tells the story of Nathan with the help of his friends in the search for love and friendship. They used friends and friendship in the same sentence, but who am I to judge? We've got a card here telling us this is number 750 of 1000. So it's a small print run, but owing to the decline of the PlayStation Vita, there are still sealed copies available out of those 1000. So yeah, PlayStation Vita is a pretty niche console, I'm not gonna lie, but I enjoy it a lot. And we've also got a soundtrack inside here along with the game. I mean, this is pretty standard for an East Asia Soft release. You get a card telling you the number of the series that it is, the certificate of authenticity, if you will. You get a soundtrack, you get a sticker, and you get the game itself. That's usually all that's in these oversized PlayStation Vita boxes, these collector's edition boxes. Although, I have bigger boxes in my collection that have even more swag. They just tend to not be East Asia Soft releases. So, let's get the shrink wrap off of the actual game itself and take a look at what's inside. One other thing that's typical of these late era PlayStation Vita releases is there's a full color manual inside the package. Sometimes stickers too. You never know what's going to be inside the game case until you actually get it open. But, if I do say so myself, this makes late era PlayStation Vita releases better because oftentimes in the early Vita releases, you didn't get any manual or any stickers, or if you were lucky, even a DLC code inside the box. You would just get a physical cartridge and that's it. Very nicely printed manual here. You always love to see full color manuals. If you're a Sega Genesis collector, you know that when they started getting really chintzy and cheap in the 90s, they replaced the full color manuals with black and white just to save money on the printing and the ink. At least you still got a manual, but you could tell things were kind of going downhill when they started appearing in black and white instead of being printed in full color. And there's our cartridge itself for the Vita game, Indigo 7 Quest for Love. Until I saw this game available for sale on Video Games Plus, I was not even aware of its existence. I didn't know Indigo 7 was a thing. I had certainly not seen anybody do a review of it or any channels talk about it, or there's not even a Wikipedia page for it, or at least there wasn't at the time I was looking it up to find out more information. All I could find out was it's a Vita game, and that's pretty much it. So I'm going into this discovering something new today, and I hope you are as well. On the surface, at least, it's got a very Scott Pilgrim versus the World look. The cartoony art, the fact they're all in a rock band, the lead singer is a boy questing for love. I mean, there are some very obvious parallels here, and I don't think the creators are shy about it or would deny it if you asked them. They being Dolores Entertainment, who I have never heard of before or since this game. This may be their one and only shot at immortality, a single PlayStation Vita game. Now, from what I've seen of it, it's very similar to an old, I want to say late 70s, early 80s game show called Blockbuster, where you had to make hexagonal tiles, form a line all the way across the board to win. And that's essentially what you're doing here, except you don't have to battle a human opponent, you battle a CPU, and you don't have to do rounds of trivia to get the chance to make a move. You just pick a color, and that move is made. And each time you make a move, you get the chance to continue the chain on a color next to the move you already made. So you go through the board, going from one side to the other, chaining these colors together, and the faster you can do it, the more points you score. And there are combos for making longer chains than the previous chains you made before. And you want to run up your combo meter to make even bigger moves and even bigger scores. And then when you get into the main gameplay itself, it gives you a CPU opponent, and you have to clear your board faster than they do and score more points than they scored. So it's kind of like Puyo Puyo in that respect, in that you're given opponents you have to beat, or maybe Street Puzzle Fighter 2 Turbo, if you're familiar with that gem smashing game as well. These are all in a similar vein. These are puzzle games that you can play solo, but they give you computer opponents to battle, which is fine. That's actually a genre of game that I'm really fond of, so I consider Indigo 7 a lucky draw in that respect. I really didn't know what I was getting into. It may have looked aesthetically like Scott Pilgrim on the surface, but that game is a side-scrolling beat-em-up kind of game, a Double Dragon kind of game, and this is definitely more of a puzzle/adventure game, which is definitely my aesthetic and my jam. So I'm skipping some of the loading times to get to these cutscenes, and even though the game did credit voice actors, the only time you hear them is when you're actually doing the CPU battles, not the cutscenes themselves. You'll notice in this actual battle against an opponent that I have a timer counting down at the top of the screen, so you're under some additional pressure to not just beat your CPU opponent, but do it as quickly as you can to gain additional points, get bonuses, not run out of time, and be judged on whatever you could do during that time. You just want to make your moves as quickly as possible. And in my haste, I was probably not making all of the best moves I possibly could, but it's my first time playing Indigo 7, so I think I'm allowed a little bit of learner's grace here. I was doing pretty well for the first two rounds, but in the third round, I actually ran out of moves, which I didn't even realize was a thing you could do, but it happened to me, so that means I need more practice at Indigo 7. But for a new complete in-box PlayStation Vita game in 2025 that had never been opened before, I'm very happy with my purchase, and I would recommend this game if you like puzzling adventure games or adventure puzzle games. Thanks for watching.